welcome to the Troublemakers podcast. Today we are in Githurai at the Social Justice Centre here, and we'll be speaking to Njoki. Njoki will get to introduce herself, and we'll be exploring the principle of not falling in love with your tactics. We are outside, so it might be a bit noisy in the background. Just bear with us, and let's dive in. Njoki, karibu. You can introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Yeah.
Okay, asante sana and karibuni to Githurai Social Justice Centre. So my name is Njoki Gachanja. I coordinate Githurai Social Justice Centre. I identify as a community organizer, political and social justice activist, but I am also a community lawyer. So yeah.
Asante sana, and thank you for welcoming us to this space. I mentioned it's my first time here, and I'm really happy to get to know the work here. As we discussed, we'll be diving into the principle of not falling in love with our tactics. As Kenyans, I don't know if we've fallen in love with mandamano. I would like to hear your thinking around that. What can we do to stop, falling in love with one tactic and exploring other tactics?
Mm-hmm. I think at the point where people fell in love with mandamano is because before our 2010 constitution and the epoch before, when we were still in the process of coming up with the new constitution, the struggle for democracy and just being able to picket and protest was very, very restricted. So when we were able to actually achieve, these freedoms and these rights in our constitution, you want to use this new you want to use this new freedom and rights because now you can shove this article at the faces of the police officers who want to come and take it away and say, oh, I have a right. It is in article 37 of our constitution, gives me the right to picket. So I think just also getting to a space where we transition from restriction, very serious oppression, restriction, to a space where we were able to express ourselves, be able to protest, knowing that if anybody was to infringe on that right, there would be consequences. So I think it has been the excitement of having that democratic space and the expansion of the civic the civic space at that particular point. I don't think it was per se such a bad thing to exercise it, because it also helped a lot in drawing those boundaries and ensuring that the institutions and the people in power knew it helped keeping them in check. But the question is, because you see, even when you have these tactics, you should always be able to constantly analyze and see, are they are they serving the current context? Should we do other things? One of the biggest conversations and the criticism that we've been getting from people who organized in in earlier years, in the 80s and then in the 90s, is that the people in our generation are organizing over overboard, like yes, overboard, like we're not underground. We're exposing all our plans, all our strategies, all our tactics, organizing open air and not leaving our hidden cards for the aspect of surprise. And mandamano has basically become our to-go-to way of trying to address these things. I think we have overdone mandamano, and now even the system has adjusted to how they handle us with our mandamanos.
Yeah.
In such a way, they will now tell you, it's okay. Please ensure you occupy only one street or two, and protest from a certain time to a certain time. Then after that, please go home. So their duty for that day is to ensure that they have restricted us in those areas that they have given us, that even when we make a lot of noise, we're not disrupting the other things. Yes, the other things that are going on. We'll give a petition and we will go back home. Are we questioning how impactful this is? What have we been able to achieve with this mandamanos? I mean, with the recent ones in the last 1 year, the 25th June, in that period, the finance, the food protest,
The
unga protest
in 2011, that one?
no,
So
the
2023.
even 2024 we
Yeah.
had that. They started in 2023, 2024. Those ones, we got a lot of milestones from those ones. We were able to push for the cost of living. So many things were adjusted, even in the finance bill. I mean, in 2024 we were able to reject it, and it went back. So even though those things still came back behind, but we were able to really push boundaries and push our agenda. But then again, more and more, as the regime got tightened its hold, we've also lost a lot of people on the streets. And sometimes this deaths and the process to get justice, you start questioning, are these deaths even worth it? Like, for how long will we keep going to the streets, losing our comrades, losing citizens of Kenya, and things still remain the same? Because it's like, now if they kill 30 people and we still insist on going back to the street, they now escalate the violence, and so it's losing a lot of meaning, because now it's becoming like we cannot perennially be in war.
There's something I wanted, and I love that you have already started talking about what's the impact, or like, is this working? I will just take you a bit back to like how we've fallen in love with this tactic, because I have been to mandamano, and the joy and momentum of being in that can attract a lot of young people, for example, because as a country we are very joyous.
Yeah.
We do have joy in everything and rhythm in mandamano.
Yes.
And there is that appeal to be part of that push. And you pointed out very well that it was good that we can get to show our people power through, the right that we have to picket. So I'm wondering if there is any way we can, as we are talking of other things apart from mandamano that we can explore, that we can still carry that, that appeal that people have towards mandamano to another tactic, so that people still feel the pull to participate. What would that look like to you? Like, what can we think around?
I mean, last year, the reason why there was even such a huge turnout in the streets was because there was FOMO, fear of missing out. So many young people even came to the streets and didn't even know why they were coming to the streets, but because it was the trendy thing to do, it's a cool thing, and we used that opportunity. We don't say it's entirely a bad thing, because they then came and got to interact with the real issues of why the people were in the streets. But then there was like a revolution also happening in the digital space, because a lot of unpacking of the issues that we were trying to push happened online. On TikTok, you had people translating the finance bill in different languages in very creative ways, making memes and songs about where we wanted. I think that's also now the new space that is emerging as a tactic of organizing, in such a way we don't have to always perennially be on the streets. we can organize in our different spaces doing different things that could still attract the youth. For as long as we keep it fun, we keep it, because you also need to study that type of the Gen Z generation and what appeals to them, what is their attention span like? What is this one thing that could keep going to the spaces where they are, they're in? And you'll find in our centers we are engaging a lot. The biggest pillar here is arts and sports for social justice. You've seen that we have a football pitch here, so we now anytime we have a match, because we have a home team here, Githurai All Stars. Anytime we have a match, especially during the league, because they play in the league during the weekends, Saturday or Sunday, you will have almost 2,000 people coming to this to this field to watch the match. That is an already mobilized crowd that you can push these agendas. So you try a lot to use these spaces that are already there to push the agenda of people power and how we can push for change as a people. So you'll find us giving pamphlets, or in the middle of the game just making announcements or distributing the katibas for these people. You will find us, we have branded merchandise. So like my t-shirt has a message on the katiba. The stewards of the game will be wearing the what are they, the
Jersey?
the reflectors, no, the
reflector
reflectors.
jackets.
Yes, the reflector jackets that have the same
Message.
message. So we have so many spaces where this education of people and also agitation of some sort can happen. You will remember during that period there was people even occupied churches, because these are already mobilized spaces where you find so many people. So what are we doing to ensure that whatever we do as a center is also available for those people who for the churches that are around here? Do we go join them for for their services and masses? Because this is where the people are at. And we need to also find ways in such a way, for example, if they will not relate a lot with maybe my language or how I package there, but who is this other person in that space that can be a member of the center, but also is a member of the church? In such a way, you will preach justice, you will preach change in church. We have a lot of youth in churches. The youth groups that are always in churches, the different youth groups, and they do a lot of creative things. How are you injecting that agenda in those spaces? So it doesn't have to be like we're perennially antagonistic and always on the streets, because that's the other thing that I think as a person I have been learning in the space. We are organizing from a place of anger and frustration. And they're beating us at that, because I think at this point we need to organize from a point of love and unity. That sells than the anger and the frustration, because you see, the anger is where they even build narratives of gunzi. Because of course we are angry, and when I'm angry and I go to the streets and the police provoke me, I will fight back. Okay? And so they're always taking advantage of that animosity, and that very aggressive atmosphere. So why don't we organize from a very different point of view? As Githurai Social Justice Centre, I told you, we've been doing flash theatre skits. So we will have a group of like 15 people. We'll go to the market where people are just doing their thing, and all of a sudden we will start acting right in the middle. We will sing songs that they understand, that they relate to. We will ask them questions even as we're, having that theatre, and they will relate a lot. They have not had to leave their places of work because we've found them in their space. we have been able to push that agenda. We've been able to educate them in their safe space.
I like that kind of approach, because historically we know, like, anger and being angry does drive action.
Yes.
Like, unless people are angry enough to take action, then we are very compliant to whatever the status quo is. I'm wondering, in our situation, for example, my feeling is that we're angry, yes, but we are also very reactionary.
Yes.
So we are always reacting and not planning or being strategic. So we're not being proactive as much with our anger.
Yes.
We are getting, it's very easy to incite us with a comment or a statement, and we are on the streets. How do you think we can approach that as a society to be able to tap into this anger that is there, but strategically use it to unify people and have a strategy in mind? I think,
you see, one of the questions everyone kept asking during the Gen Z, when people were saying we're tribeless, we're leaderless, and it really worked for that particular time. It made sense, because then they could not target it. They were so confused. The system was so confused. They did not know who to target. Who do we go after? Because these people, there's no particular leader, you know. But for people who've been organizing in movements and communities, know that was not sustainable. You always leadership is not a bad thing. I know our current setup and context has made leadership politics to look like a bad thing, but leadership is not a bad thing, and you cannot have people without a leader. But the thing is to always have leaders that emerge organically. And the one question everybody kept asking is, so what's next? Because we've been very articulate in expressing what we don't want. But when people ask us, so what
do
next?
you want?
What do you want?
Yeah.
People started stuttering, because we have been in that culture where we're very articulate about what our problems are. But ask these people, so what's the solution? They also don't know. We're saying,
we are complaining.
Yes, we're very angry. We don't want. Yeah. And one of the questions I've been asking, yes, we're saying who and who must go.
Yeah.
So what's our alternative? No, really, what's our alternative?
If they left today, what will?
Yes, if there's a comrade of mine from Mathare, Anito Gasheke, keeps saying, if power was to fall on the streets today, who would pick it up? 25th of June, in that period, power fell. There was a vacuum.
Yeah.
Who picked it up? Because we were very articulate in saying what we don't want, what our problems are. But when it comes to solutions,
we're not prepared to.
That's where we draw the line. And when every single time we talk about abolition, we talk about abolition from a place of, we want to destroy. We want to bring this thing down. We want to we want to abolish the system. And we think of it from the point or approach of destruction.
Yeah.
But abolition can also mean building new systems, alternatives, and what we want in such a way we make these things obsolete. They will not make sense anymore. The current way of life, the current system, will be obsolete, will not make sense, because we have already built and imagined and built our alternative systems that work for us and the people.
Yeah.
So abolition could mean us building. It doesn't mean always destroying, because we cannot exist in a vacuum.
True.
You understand? We cannot exist in a vacuum. That is why they keep saying, oh, what is this thing they call us?
I wanted to say criminals, but I don't think that's the word you're looking for.
No, they call us criminals. I will remember it. It has escaped my mind. But I think anger is not a strategy. So it cannot be a strategy. It cannot be a tactic. And the reason why we also need to revisit our tactics and strategies is because um, the times that we're living in demand that we think twice about our approach, because this martyrship is not working anymore. We cannot keep losing, and that system has shown that violence is going to be its only response.
Yeah, and I think the numbers have shown from like June 25th, 2024, a lot of the violence was arrests, it was,
Yes.
abductions followed. But then this year I was following in the escalation of violence has even now become about violence directly against women. So there are cases of attempted rape, there's cases of rape, which means as we continue, the violence escalates, becomes worse,
Yeah.
and the system is already prepared to retaliate when we show up on the streets. But I want to take you back to something you pointed out about the online space. TikTok, for example, where people are organizing, people are breaking down information in the finance bill, for example. How do you feel like, how do you think we can approach that? Because I remember earlier when we were having a conversation, you also told me that is also where the propaganda is. So how do we navigate that if we're looking at that space as an alternative to being on the streets?
Yeah. I think, first of all, it's just to, if we identify as community organizers as human rights defenders, the very first thing is we need to realize that our currency must be truth at all times, whether it favors us or not. Our currency must be always on truths and facts, and the correct representation of the communities that we represent, you know. So the online space is a very powerful space, and we have seen the many, battles that we've won through hashtags. We've had people, even the people who've been abducted, we've been running hashtags, and it has been very effective. But that is also the very same space where a lot of propaganda, because we are not the only people who are using that tactic, and of propaganda. Even the system is using, so we must be very sober and have the political consciousness and clarity to always be able to tell what agenda is pro people and what agenda is not from the people, because even as we're saying as a country, Ruto must go. We are not the only people who want Ruto to go. And not everyone who wants Ruto to go is pro people. Most of these other people are pushing their agendas, their selfish agendas. It's not for the people.
Yeah.
So having that ability to discern what is truth, what is lies, what are the facts, who's pushing this agenda is very, very important, so that we are not even, because sometimes people are actually even on it innocently caught up in misinformation, disinformation.
Yeah.
So being at a place where you have the political clarity and consciousness to actually verify is very, very important. And like I say, I come from Githurai, so things that are happening I cannot be an authority in Mathare, but I can be an authority in Githurai, because even if I don't know that place, I know how to get to that particular place. I know who to ask. This is my home. I have networks. We've made networks over time. So, and there is no competition or rush to break the news or to do these things. It doesn't harm to verify and to always ensure that our agenda is at the foundation of being a pro people agenda. So the fidelity to the people, that's how we win this war. That's how we push it. Fidelity to the people.
Yeah, thank you. I love your insights. But I'm also thinking, I'm just now asking you as Njoki, in maybe what you think around this. Protests have been unifying across the country. You have shared with us what other alternatives that you're doing here at Githurai. But I'm wondering, what other tactic do you think, or what other alternative to protest would unify Kenya the way mandamano has?
There's so many things that unify Kenyans. I mean, look at the Chan games and what we had. I mean, that was such and you see this these are spaces that people will not traditionally look at as organizing spaces. But what I'm saying is, these are already mobilized. You know, bringing people. These are already mobilized crowds. So to get people to such places, and at this particular point, I love the fact that we are now having a lot of artists doing songs that unify people, have the same message that they are pushing. So art is one way that we can really, really push, because we've seen what the youth want. Just create a space where they will have fun, but they will also push their agenda. That is why we are having clubs, having Ruto must go chants
At midnight.
at midnight, you know. So how are we using these spaces that are not traditionally looked at as organizing spaces? Clubs, churches, football matches, theater spaces where art is being using. I think the other spaces we can use that are not traditionally organizing spaces would be a very good thing, because we want to reach out to everyone. We want to the trick would be to package the message in a way that suits everyone. Because when you say mandamano, those mandamanos were only big in the cities, in the main, but we have rural areas. So who's engaging these rural people in the rural areas? You know, because yes, of course there were protests in Kisumu, but it was in the major cities. You know, how are we engaging the rural, the rural population, the people living in the rural areas? You know, those are people you will find in chamas, in churches, in in bases, border bases. How are you? You're not getting to those spaces, but the government and the states are getting to those spaces, organizing these people,
and building boda sheds.
Exactly. So they might not come to the protest, but it is not because they do not share in our frustrations or in our anger, and it's not because they're, in fact, I think they're going through a lot more because they've been marginalized, in the rural areas, and would also want these platforms. But then how do we approach them? So thinking of these non-traditional spaces and how we occupy them is also a very good way, a good tactic to now infiltrate those spaces. The same way the system is infiltrating our spaces, let's also now start infiltrating the spaces. And one of the things that I have noticed over time is that now, even in the police force, there are a lot of vocal police officers. People look, because when they come for this recruitment, see watakuja pia kwa mitaa zetu. These people are still our brothers and sisters. And during the mandamano, there was a policeman who even shot their brother in the parliament, and when it was breached, they shot their brother, and they came to realize that, and it almost made them go mad. So we also have to find allyship in those spaces where the oppressor thinks it's their space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I mean, it's the same saying though. Those of us who love peace need to learn to organize as well as those who love war.
Yes.
And the system already is well organized.
Very.
They know how to cause violence.
Yes.
For us, we're looking for peace. We have to also be as organized, if not more than the system, to be able to get the peace that we want.
And on that point, the reggae that we had, when we were telling you that we were going to have that, one of the biggest, the main agenda of that was to...
Could you just explain a bit about the reggae for the listeners?
Okay. So we were having a reggae concert, but also a community theater show that was dubbed The Bullet and the Flag, really just a reflection of 25th June 2024, 25th June 2025, and the violence and just the uprising that that we've witnessed in the last year. But also having a conversation about, because we got to a place and realized that as a community here in Githurai, we had experienced a lot of violence, a lot of business people, because this is a business hub. Githurai is a business hub. A lot of people were losing, their businesses during this protest, and now they were being demobilized. They were like, if these protests are going to cause us this much loss, then we don't want to be part of that, And now we will start holding counter protests to, to the people who are organizing this protest. And so you see that demobilizes and it takes back the work that we've been doing as a community to organize. And one of the biggest conversations we wanted to have on that particular day, we were calling it the Kimoja Festival and reggae concert. We wanted to have an honest conversation that is inward as a community. There's been conversation about having a national dialogue and just reflections, but we don't want the political class to convene us, because it's never for our interest. We want to be the ones to actually convene these dialogues for ourselves and have honest conversations. Because when we talk about gunzes and these people who are being hired to actually infiltrate the protests, these people don't come from Karen or they come from our communities, and most of these people, we know them. I can tell you so, and I saw so and so on the street. So we needed to have a conversation to say, it is okay if you want to be mobilized as a bunzi, you take that money, you go cause havoc, but know where you will come back, because you will not come back to our community. There will be consequences, because it is either you're for the people or you're against the people, because these are our children, these are our sons and daughters of in the community. We cannot pretend. Nobody comes from Uganda or Tanzania to cause havoc. So if Githurai was to hold such such a stand of holding each other accountable, and Madara was to do the same, and all these communities were to do the same, then where would they get the people to propel this violence? So it's not just about always pointing fingers to the system that is not working. It is also to see how we as a people contribute. It's this, we keep saying these people are corrupt, but you're the very first person to offer this bribe when you're arrested in traffic, or you're arrested for, a very small demeanor, that you would go to court and the magistrate or judge would free you, or even, without bail, But we don't trust our criminal justice system. We don't trust our judiciary. We as a people must also introspect and have these hard conversations that, Monica, if you the people of Nanyuki see you on the streets as a gunzi,
They hold me accountable.
you will be held accountable.
Yeah.
Either you move to Kisumu, where people don't know you, or when you come here,
another community to adopt me.
Yes, or when you come here, we'll have a citizen's arrest, and we will go we will take you to the police station, and we will demand that they take action.
Yeah.
Because we have seen that it is the police that were protecting this, these gunzis, Yeah.
Yeah, I love the insights. Thank you, Njoki. I am hoping we can revisit this maybe in a year's time, see if we have moved
Yeah.
forward,
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
come up with new tactics that we'll probably fall in love with.
Yeah.
But give us a parting shot to the Kenyans who have been organizing and protesting and probably are a bit tired. Give us some parting shots that can give us hope to keep going.
I think my parting shot is something that I've said during this conversation. I think we need to rethink how the approach of how we're organizing. Anger is good. It moves action. It moves us to action. The frustrations are valid, but we need to start organizing from a place of love, from a place of unity. We cannot just constantly want to destroy without alternatives. We must move to a space where we're imagining what our alternatives look like and are able to articulate what that future looks like, so that whenever anyone is asking us what's next, whenever someone is asking what do you want, whenever someone is asking what do you suggest, we are very articulate in the same way we are articulating our problems and what we don't want. We should move to that next step where we are very able to build new realities for ourselves and for the people.
Asante sana. Where can people find Githurai Social Justice Centre? Do you have social medias? Where can they follow you if they want to learn more about what you do?
Yes, we're on social media. We're on X. We're on Facebook. Our website is it should be up in the next month.
Okay.
We've been working on that.
Okay.
So, but we're on all social media as Githurai Social Justice Centre.
How can people find Njoki Gachanja?
Well, if they want to find me physically, they can come to the office in Githurai Social Justice Centre. But yeah, but I'm also on all social media platforms as Njoki Gachanja. Yes,
go follow her, learn from her, and follow Githurai Social Justice Centre. Asante san.
Awesome, asante.
Hi! We hope you enjoyed the conversation on this episode of Troublemakers and feel inspired to stir up some good trouble in your own community. Do feel free to check out our other episodes and subscribe to Troublemakers Podcast in your preferred podcast app. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook as troublemakers.podcast for all the latest updates, behind-the-scenes content, and sneak peeks of what's coming next. We also love to hear from our listeners. You can email us via troublemakersthepodcast@gmail.com or simply drop a DM through our social media. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, take a moment and share it with a friend or leave us a review. It really helps us grow our community of troublemakers. Keep shaking things up.